All right, I guess we will get started. Everyone else can come in when they're ready. I'm going to just launch a quick poll just to sort of see where we are with things. And if you could just take a couple minutes to do the poll just so I know where we are and where you all are with your experience. Um, just going to let Amanda come in. Sure. As soon as I launch a poll, everybody's coming in now.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda and Lydia, let me know if you can see the poll because I had launched a poll before you came in.
I can see it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So most of you have not done a V3 report yet. That makes sense to me. One is three people are emphatic about it, which I like. And then kind of where I thought we should be with the roles. Okay, great. That was just, again, all right, I can share the results so everyone can see if you want to see where everybody else is on this. So we will get started, and I will make sure that it is very introductory since most folks have not attempted a V3 report. And if anyone had done V2 reports, the V3 reports are very different and a lot more intimidating. But on the other hand, they're also a lot more helpful. So a couple of things really quickly. I'm going to put in the chat the best way to get help, which is our email address. There are two of us on the Navigate team currently, and currently Rebecca is being very selfish and is off on vacation on her honeymoon, which I don't really heartily approve of. But of course, I'm kidding. But it's the best way to get help is to use that email address because both of us monitor that account, and we will get back to you usually within the same business day, if not usually within 24 hours. We try and make sure we're looking at that throughout the day. There's also the website. If you haven't been to the website, please do go there. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. There are 4 different pages: students, faculty, advisors, and administrators. There will soon be a 5th one for front desk staff, just to get those folks a little bit of training and understanding. But all of the information about reporting is on the administrators page, as I said in my email to you all. But feel free to share both the email address and the website with your colleagues. They are both very helpful. And if there's anything that's not helpful on it or something you would like to see on the websites at all, please let us know. And we are updating it constantly. I don't want to say constantly, but we've been updating it fairly regularly, and especially as new features come on to the platform, which EAB does about 4 times a year. They do a major upgrade and will add new features. And as those features become ready and available in our site, we will make announcements. We have a couple that we're going to announce over the summer that have been in the site for a while, but we've needed time to train ourselves on them. The next train, we're going to do another training on May 2nd at 3 o'clock, and I will send announcements out to everyone as I did last time, and it's going to be about automations. So there are ways to automate reports and searches, and there's a variety of things you can do with them. The most important is that you can add students to campaigns while the campaign is running, which was always a sort of a problem with the campaigns, is that once you launched it, even especially if it was a long campaign, you couldn't add anybody to it. But now you can through the automations, and it makes it really, really helpful. And there's a lot of different things you can do with them now. So we'll do a training on automations on May 2nd at 3 o'clock, and I will send out invitations, and I'll put an announcement on the system itself for that, because that's going to be available to just about everybody, faculty, staff, and administrator users. So that will be the next thing we'll get together. Okay, so
Will be
reports.
recorded too?
I'm sorry?
Will that one be recorded also?
Yes.
Great, thanks.
So what are reports? Reports are a great way. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't been on one of these with me, if I start talking about something and I'm not sharing my screen, please tell me, because I tend to forget to do that. And if you have questions, just feel free to come off mute, because I'm not going to be able to pay attention to the chat all that well with all of you and trying to present at the same time. So I don't mind being interrupted. So this is what a report looks like. Reports are basically a way to get information about a particular group of students. There are upwards of 15 or 16 reports that we have access to, and they're all listed on that V3 reports page, and they have different outcomes and what the return is. But the biggest part of all of the reports is how you decide which group of students you would like to have the report give you information about. And we do that through these filters. What are we going to use these for? You can use these reports so I ran this is a report I run every day to get information out of Navigate and into a CRM that we use for new students. But what you can do with the results immediately is all of these information, all these actions. I can send a message to a student. I can create an appointment campaign and invite all of these students to make an appointment with me. I can add to a student list, or I can add a to-do. The to-do is a really interesting feature, and since we launched the Navigate Student campaign platform, which includes the mobile app, the to-do has become really helpful. So what a to-do is, if you make it available to the students, basically you're reminding a student to do something, and it will show up on their student app. They'll get a push notification if they have set up their notifications that way, and asking them to take care of whatever task you're asking them to. So say this list was a bunch of students who need to remember to sign up for a summer workshop. I can send that to do to all 358 of these students all at once, and it'll go right into their account on the Navigate student platform, and they'll be able to see it. I can add them to a student list, which is just a static list that I want to keep for myself. And I'll show you a little bit more about all of those later. I can export this list into a CSV file using this little icon here, and a variety of other things. With the automations, which we'll talk about in May, I can also add these students to an already existed campaign. And that's, again, that got a lot of us very excited. and it's very neat. How do I get here? So when you're in your staff homepage or your faculty homepage, you go to this reporting icon and you will get to this page. All of your saved reports, and that's another thing you can do with your report is you can save it. So if this is something you want to run regularly, once a week, once a month, once a semester, you can have these here. All you have to do is click on this and it opens it up. You hit run report and it'll run the report. If you would like to just start a new report, you go to standard reports, and then these are all the reports that I have access to. The number of reports that you have access to will vary based on your role. If there is a report that we talk about today or in the literature that you feel you need to have access to, let me know. And we'll talk about that. If we need to change your role, we can do that with the proper authorizations, of course. Can't make those decisions on my own. And then this would give you any reports that you have in automations. I don't have any here in this account. In my student engagement account, I have many. The other way to get to your reports, if you go to this list, this bullet point icon here, this is saved items. So here are all of my student lists. Here are my saved searches from advanced search. Again, you can save your searches. And here are my saved reports. And if I had any automations, this would be down here. So 2 ways to get to your saved searches, but if you need to run a fresh report, you're going to go to reporting. Things to keep in mind about reports. They're student focused. So you can only search on student users. You can't search on faculty or staff users. You can't try and figure out how many of your colleagues have been logging in or whatever. You can't do that. But the other part of it being student focused is in most of the reports, each row is based on a particular student. You may have multiple rows for the same student, depending on what you're looking for. So like if I do a student enrollments report, I will get a row for every class a student is enrolled in that particular term. Those reports get to be very big unless you are severely filtering the list. Because if you just run it on its own, it will send you thousands and thousands of rows because you'll have at least, on average, 3 lines per student that are enrolled in the semester. And all students are in here, grad, undergrad, doctoral, non-degree, permit students. Everybody that is enrolled in a term or even has been admitted is in the system. We clean that up a little bit when we clean up the admissions files. So once a student is admitted, they'll have a record or at least a shell of a record in the system. Their record becomes more robust once they're matriculated. That's when we add their major. We add a bunch of other information from CUNY First. Another thing to remember is that if you're searching on majors are, it's not just bio. There's bio BA, bio BS, Macaulay Honors bio, and then the bio BS MS. So you have to really think about what data you're looking for and which students you want to include in the search, in the report, because you have to be very particular. One of the things I say about the system will do exactly what you tell it to, whether that's what you want it to do or not. Whatever you tell it to do, it's going to do. So you have to be very strategic on setting up your filters. Going to get back to this report just for a demonstration. There are, depending on the report, there are different checkboxes down here on the bottom. It's another set of filters for you. This report is looking at appointments. So it will include canceled appointments, include no-shows, reports filed only. So that's only appointments where the summary report has been filled out. And this one indicates only show appointments that are part of a campaign. All of the other reports will have at least these two, include inactive users and include my students only. Now, inactive users is very helpful if you're looking to do a historical report. So I want to look at all of the students who were enrolled from, let's say, fall 2020 through now that took math 201 and received better than a B. I can do that. But if I don't include this, I'm only going to get students that are currently active in the system. If I include inactive students, I will also get everyone who's graduated or everyone who has dropped out. So that's an important button to use if I'm looking for that kind of data. Include my students only. This will include only the students that are assigned to me in Navigate. So if you have an advisor relationship with a student, they would come on there. If you have some other type of relationship, and we have a variety of different relationships, some of our advisors are also the DegreeWorks liaison. If you're connected to a student in that way, they will come in here and include my students. So it's important to know who your students are. So if you go to your homepage,
Yeah, I'm on Navigate with Dominic, and Pedro is on.
if you go to your homepage here, you will see your assigned students. I don't have any assigned students, but just that's because of what my job is, but you'll see your assigned students here. So if you click on that button, all of the students here in all your relation types will be included in the search. Okay. So let's talk about filters. I'm just going to pull up a standard report here, and we'll do the student report just to use it as an example for what we're talking about. The filters are how you tell the system what students you want in your report. And it's very straightforward, yet I don't want to say complicated, but it's involved. There are three parts of a filter. The field, so I can decide what the field is, and this is the big part of the information that I want. So here I'm going to look for major. The condition, very important. Each field will have a variety of different conditions you can choose. This is a very full set of conditions. It contains any. I could put multiple values in here, and if the student major if the field contains any of the values I put in here, it'll come in. Does not contain, so I want all students except for basket weaving majors. And again, or basket weaving, zebra studies, and pole vaulting. Contains all. Again, if I say I need students who are in bio and physics, then I'm looking for students who are double majoring in bio and physics, because they have to have both of the majors in order to be part of the return. Again, does not contain all. I can have multiple ones that I want to exclude. Is empty, is not empty. These aren't really going to work for us for major, because even if a student is undeclared, there will be something in the major field. So very rarely will anything be empty in the major field, but there are other fields that could be empty. So these are the types of conditions. And then here in the value, if there are set values in the system, you will come up with this sort of checkbox. So again, we're going to use bio as my example. Do I want bio BA? Do I want bio BA and BS? So that I can add all of that. The big thing that a lot of people will forget is the Macaulay Honors College, because they have a variety of majors and they're separate because there's separate requirements in CUNY First and DegreeWorks for those students. So if you want to include that, you have to make sure you check all of these. And so I can say any of those, does not contain any, however I want. But those are the three things that make up a field. There are some fields, it's the three things that make up a filter, I apologize. There are some fields that will automatically create a subfield. For instance, if I were to do courses, so I'm looking for students, and then in term, again, I can choose just spring, or if I want to say, I want to look for students who are in a particular course from 22 fall through 24 spring and then I can start picking a class. When doing classes in Navigate, the subject has to be in capital letters, otherwise it won't find it. And then you have to add the hyphen so that I can pick a class. It's going to add the subfilter, because this is where it gets fun with courses. Is what are you looking for? You're looking for the section name. We don't really do midterm grades in here because we don't ask for midterm grades from our faculty, but final grades will be here. So then I can pick, again, I have all the conditions. Is not contained, is empty, is not empty. So if I want to look for everyone who got an A or an A plus or an A minus, I can do that here. So this is how you set up your filters. Okay, it's important to look at that. The article that I sent in my email, Conditions in V3 Reports, talks a lot about this box here. And it's a great review of all the different conditions that are available here. And you can have as many filters as you want. The other part that's really neat is that you can decide on the logic. So say I'm going to do that, and then I want, I'm going to do courses again. And I'm going to just do this quickly just because I don't want to take up too much time. So right now, this report is looking for students who took 190. Oh, I did this. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so right now I'm looking for all students who have taken pre-calculus with an A, A minus, or an A plus, and calculus 1 with a B, B minus, or B plus, B minus, or a C. Don't ask me why I asked that. Now, I can change that. I can make this an or. If you're going up here, filter logic, so I can do 1 or 2. If I had several filter, and I'll show this in an example, I can do 1 and 2 and 3, or I can do 1 and 2 or 3. So you can get very advanced with your logic. It's very, very fun. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples and that have some advanced logic in them, and then we'll go through them very carefully. So far, are there any questions? Okay. We're good so far? All right, good. All right, so I'm going to pull up an example that I created this morning for today's session. This is an appointment report. So far, what I'm doing here is I am looking for all students in the Cole and Powell, that all students who had an appointment in the Cole and Powell advising office between January 25th, 2024 and today. And that the service contains current student academic advising. And I want to see anyone who was a no-show so that the appointment summary shows that they were a no-show, or that they canceled. their appointment. So then you see the advanced logic up here, 1 and 2 and 3. So that's these 3. And then and 4 or 5. So either of those. So when I run the report, sometimes these reports take a little bit to run. And of course, when I say a little bit, I mean more than 15 seconds. Though I do remember when it took 3 minutes to boot up your computer. And what we'll see here is on the end, we will see people with both yeses and nos in both of these. So like this student had a yes and canceled and a no and a late in an appointment no show. Where is it? So this is it. This is the appointment summary no show. Okay. So you can't see it here, but this is the appointment summary no show because this is the summary report filed. So these are the 2 columns that I was looking for. Now, when you get to this point where you have results, and I showed you that you could do a variety of things immediately, there's other things you can do. These buttons over here help you decide what you can see here. This is my column manager. I can decide which columns I want in here. If I don't care about the alternate ID, which I don't because we don't use it. If I don't care about the categories and tags, I can take those off and then just go back to the view the grid table and those columns will not be there anymore. I can do a variety of sorts right here in the sort manager, and then you can do some grid settings here as well if you want to change things on how the grid is coming out. Here allows me to export it. It comes out in a VSV file. I'll show you what happens because people get a little confused. It will go right into my download file, and then for me, it opens up immediately. And then this one just clears all sorts and filters. So whatever filters I had will be gone. Okay. Another fun thing that you could do is this little icon here allows you to create a pivot table and a pivot chart based on your results. I find this to be less exciting than it could be because while I can look at it here and manipulate it and come up with great charts and pivot tables, I can't export them right now. They're working on it. So the best option if you need to be able to use this in a presentation is either do a chart that fits on one screen and screenshot it or export it in a CSV and do your magic in Excel, which I think has got a little bit more robust charting and pivot table functions than this. But it is here if you need a quick pivot table, quick pivot chart. And they're pretty neat, but they're nothing special. And the fact that you can't export them is typical Navigate in where they went down the road of a good thing, but stopped before they got to the good thing. So that's sometimes what we have to deal with Navigate. Okay, any questions about this report right now? Okay. We'll do one more example and then I'll open for questions and we can go anywhere you want on the reports. My saved report, my example number 2 is a student report. And again, I did some complicated, well, not complicated, but advanced logic here, but I did this for a reason. Here I did my or in the middle. One of the things you need to remember is if you are going to use an or statement, the two filters that make up the or, for me right now it's filter 2 and filter 3, have to be next to each other. I tried to do this where number 2 was here, but number 3 was my number 5, and I couldn't make, it doesn't allow me to do that in the logic expression. So what happens when you do your advanced, this little window over here, oh, okay, I have to edit it. So this little window over here opens up. I tried to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 or 5. I mean, no, I'm sorry. I tried to do 1 and 2 and 4 and 3 or 5. It didn't allow me to do that. So when you're doing an or, you have to have your two ors next to each other. So again, another reason for you to plan your report ahead of time, because otherwise you have to do what I did, is I had to take 3 things out, add my other item, and then add things back in. So it's just important to remember that. So here, again, I'm looking for students in the School of Humanities that took World Humanities 1 and got a DF or W, or took World Humanities 2 and got a DF or W. But I also excluded certain students. I excluded, does not contain all, students who were approved for graduation. Actually, this needs to be, does not contain any. Graduation status approved, undergraduate. I can't type today, I apologize. Oh, it's graduation. Okay. So this is a good example of what to do now. So I've changed my report. What do? I go up here and I can save as. So I can update the report, or I can save it as a new report, depending on what I want to do. So I've just turned my little mistake into a teaching moment. So now I have it the way I want it. It'll keep out students who have been approved for graduation or have already had their degree awarded. But it also will make sure that everyone is an undergraduate student. So when I run the report, I will get all those students. Once you start playing around with this, it's pretty straightforward. The biggest thing is making sure you understand how to play with the conditions. So I just encourage you to go in and start trying to run a report. So just want to pull up one of the documents here. This article that I linked to off the website is very neat because it gives you all of the basically explanations of each of the reports. We are not doing appointment feedbacks yet, but that's going to be one of the other things that we launch over the summer. Appointment reports. This will show you what each of these reports comes out with, and it will explain what each row is. So this is a very good document to bookmark for yourself. Check-in reports if you're doing events where we're just allowing students to check in. Maribel and her team, I showed you this the other day. Interventions are all of our, when you see alerts in EAB literature, we call them notifications at City College. We decided that alerts was prominently negative. Notifications were a little bit more benign. So we call them notifications. Cases, and we do not do the enrollment census report. That's done in CUNY first. Progress report campaigns. A lot of our faculty have been asked by the provost to report on their students through a progress report campaign, so we can do reports on that through here. Not everyone's going to have the ability to run that report, but the progress reports report, most of you should have the ability to run. So you can look at your students and see what faculty are saying about them if there's any concerns about their performance. And so this document will show you what all of the different reports are. Some of them we won't be able to run, like the academic plan utilization is based on a module of Navigate we don't have. So just don't get frustrated when you don't see these in your report list. Okay.
Hi, Dominic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Where can I find this page?
If you go, well, I can put the link to the article in the website in the chat, but it's on the CCNY Navigate website under administrators in the reports section.
Okay, thank you.
And I will put the website in the chat again too. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to open it up for any sort of questions, comments. I know I've gone over a lot. Actually, you know what, I'm going to share one more time because I just want to show a couple of things. There is one more thing that I want to show. One of the neat things about V3 is that I can set up this report and then I can share it with you. I did this last year with a lot of the advising leads. I shared filters for them to find their students that have had notifications posted on them. So basically what I can do is I can say, share this filter. It will copy a URL to my my clipboard, and then I can share it. And I'm going to share these. No, I can't do it in chat. It's too big. It's a pretty big URL. But what happens is that I can email the URL to whoever I want, and all they need to do is be in Navigate, click on the URL, it'll open this page, and then all you need to do is save it in your own saved report folder. This way, so it's very easy to share these kinds of reports. In V2, we couldn't share them at all. So we're very happy that we're being able to do this now. Okay, that was the last big point that I wanted to make. So I'm going to stop sharing. Are there any questions, concerns, or what the heck are you talking about, Dom? Okay. Nothing? I was that good? I don't believe that. All right, so I am going to launch another poll, just again to see how I did and if I need to revisit this at all. So please do complete the poll. Your confidence is overwhelming. Very, very happy. Okay, at least I got no, heck no. I was expecting to have at least one. Carlito's here. You know, I had to pick on you, Marlis. Well, good. Okay, I'm glad. Yes, the sure is completely understandable. This is a lot of information, but I think going it over like this in a group at least makes it a little less mysterious. Because I play with data all the time, and I do write queries in CUNY first. Not write them, I sort of do, at least in the reporting instance. And when I looked at this, I was mesmerized. I was just like, what the heck is all of this? So it just takes a little bit of time to go through it. If you have any questions at all, let me know. Send us an email. We can hop on a quick Zoom and go through it all. If you want to send me the filters, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Here are my filters. Can you look at it and tell me what I'm doing wrong? You know, absolutely happy to do that. I really do think that this is a game changer on the V3 reports. And I also do understand that it's probably a lot for some people. I have started a campaign amongst app admins across the country to ask EAB to keep the V2 reports because for some users, those are enough. But these are very powerful. The filters can be very powerful. You can slice and dice the student population in millions of ways. And it is a little bit much for people who don't play with data. So please do take some time, try a very simple report, then start adding different filters to it. And then that's the way you get used to it. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? If not, I want to show something to Carlito that is going to blow his mind. Dr. Lewis.
Yeah, just one quick question. I don't want to assume anything, but the database that's in the system is all students at City College, right?
It's all students at City College. It's even students who have been admitted but not matriculated or not enrolled yet. So right now we have upwards of 20,000
Okay.
new students who have been admitted for the fall, 17,000 of which are never going to come here. But they are there. They will be cleaned up and dropped out of the system once we know that they're not coming. Once we're confident they're not coming, which is usually the day before the semester starts. But yes, all doctoral students, all graduate students, all undergraduate students, all non-degree students, and all permit students are in the system.
Oh, you also have
Basically,
all
I'm sorry?
non-degree
Yes.
students. Great.
The other thing I will tell you is we keep students in the system, students that have graduated, we keep them in the system for 365 days after their degree is posted. That's new. Until about 2 months ago, they were dropped out the day after their degree posted on CUNY first. We asked to keep them in the system because many students want to come back and see an advisor. They want to see a career advisor. They want to see a faculty member to talk about graduate school, whatever it is. So we keep them in now for 365 days. A student who is not registered, who was registered at one point and is no longer registered, we'll keep them active in the system for 2 semesters. So basically, once they fall out of CUNY first, they will fall out of Navigate.
Is there a reason or a law why they dropped out of the system, or could they go into
It's not so much.
secondary?
Let me say that. Let me rephrase that. They don't drop out. They just they're no longer active.
Got
Their
it.
data will stay in the system for up to 10 years.
Got it.
But the ability to access their profile becomes muted after time.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay, Carlito, I got something for you. You're gonna love this.
Go ahead.
You're gonna love it, and you're not gonna love it because it's gonna mean some work. So let me just do a new report. And Hannah, you're going to like this too, I think. Oh, it's not in here. Okay, I'm going to do a different report. Oh man. All right, I can't find it right now, but I will find it. But there is basically, Carlito, there is a way of searching on those radio buttons in the appointment summary report.
Really?
Yeah, I learned that last week. I was very, very excited. I have
Huh.
to figure out where that is.
'Cause
Um,
that could mean
A lot.
yeah. Because then if we could make the radio reports more, we could fine tune them and play with them, then we could run reports on them. That would be
Yeah,
that would be
that
fascinating.
that was always the problem with them, is they were there, but they weren't very useful.
Wow. If we could run reports on them. Wow.
Yeah. I apologize for not being able to figure out what field is or what report it is, but I will figure that out.
Oh, that's fascinating. That would mean yeah.
Yeah,
That's a whole
I
different
thought you would
level.
like that.
No, that's a whole different level because we don't use them as much because we couldn't run report on them.
Right.
And then it was just there floating.
And
That
it's
would be
helpful for
amazing.
everyone. I mean, Student Affairs is can now do a really decent appointment summary, and I know the AVP wants to do a lot of tracking. Same thing with enrollment management. Same thing with advising. Those appointment summary reports can be really helpful now.
That would be amazing.
So yeah, I'll figure it out and I'll show it to you, and I'll
Wow.
include it in the reports page.
Keep me posted on that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else from anybody? Nope. Okay. Well,
Dominic, sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Lydia.
And we don't have to hold everyone else. I was just wondering if you could run through pulling the reports for the events.
Sure.
If that doesn't take too long.
Not at all. Very simple.
Hi, Dominic. I got a question as well.
Yes.
My Navigate doesn't show any report settings. So
Probably don't like you very much.
I know that my role is a bit peculiar. So I was wondering if we could either set an appointment to kind of go over this. I mean, I took notes on your
You're
presentation.
not seeing any reports?
I can share my screen if you'd like.
Sorry,
But
I'm impersonating you.
the screen option for that little button for reports doesn't appear. I have the calendar, but
It doesn't. Why is that? Pedro, I will look into it and I'll get back to you.
no problem. Thank you.
That's really weird. Okay, yeah, I'll look at that right after I closed out the thing and get back to you. I have your email address. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Then Lydia, I'm going to show you what you're asked about. Everyone else, you're free to leave, or you're free to stay and watch. I'm going to do a check-ins report. So we just go to the reporting, go to standard reports, scroll down to check-in reports. And then what you're going to do is location. And student affairs events. You can just run it from here, or you can do the service, which is the event name. And what was the name of the event we ran, Lydia?
Sustained dialogue. Maybe it was called something else, or maybe it was just student affairs. Let me check it.
You know, I may have done it on student life because I didn't know any better.
That's right, you did.
Why is this not showing? This is weird because it's showing me all the events. No, it's there. Okay.
It looks like you had both student life and student life events.
Yeah, I did.
Under the
Just
value.
it's not filtering the events, the services though.
Okay.
What did we call it? There it is, spring dialogue sessions. Only one? Let's do this.
So we've had a few of those. Would it only populate maybe, well, there was still more than one person there. I was gonna ask, would it only populate the most recent
No.
event?
Here we are. So we had 38. Does that sound more right?
Correct, yeah.
You have a couple people that looks like they went to both or several.
Right, right. We have them every couple of weeks.
Yeah. So that's what you would do. So in the location, you want to do student life and student affairs events.
Can I get in on this fun here real quick?
Yep.
So what this report is looking at, right, is if you run an event, right, and then and then people checked in, they don't necessarily, in advising, you would be checking in and then they're pulled in for like a drop in, but this is just an event.
If for that, you would run the reports, the appointments report, Carlito.
Right.
This is when I set up a service to do record visit only
Okay.
in the location settings.
Okay. No, because I'm interested in this because we do some group stuff around advising, right? So now what I'm thinking is I could run them not the way that I've been doing them, but the way student life is doing them, and student affairs is doing
Yeah,
them,
you
which
could
is
just have
basically
people show up and have them check in.
have people show up, have them check in, and then that's it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can do this for an event where you want somebody to sign up
Mhm.
or that you don't need them to sign up. But basically this is, check this report is running on who checked into the event using the kiosk.
Right, that's something I could use.
Okay.
Because my things in advising or having a two-step when that's not necessarily
Yeah.
the case. I don't always need to do that.
Right.
Right? Okay, that's something for me to look into. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was good.
There's also, say you have like a study room,
Mhm.
but you want to track how long people are staying in there. We can set it up that we can record time. So a student checks in and a student checks out, it'll record that as well. And we can run that report here as well.
I need this. I've been wanting this, but not knowing I could do that. I've been doing something else, but I need to do this. Yeah, you and I, we're gonna.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
And that's an important thing. I can't possibly put on paper everything this thing can do.
Right.
But a lot of it's in my head.
I don't even know what's possible sometimes. So
Right. But
just
what
means we need to have more
my point
conversations.
is, ask the question. Even if
Yeah.
you have something that you don't think it's ever going to be able to do, ask me. Because if I'm not sure it can do it, I have other people that are using this in a variety of different ways that I can bounce it off of.
Perfect.
Here at CUNY, across the country, every 2 weeks I'm in a meeting with app admins from across the country, and that includes the technical support team. So I learn a lot like that, doing the searching on the things from the appointment summaries. I learned that because somebody asked a weird question. I'm like, you can't do that. And they're like, yeah, well, here's how you do it. I'm like, wait, you can do that? Because there's so
This is
many
useful.
things and options and, little check boxes in the system, that there are a variety of ways to get things done. So if you have a thought, ask about it. Because I don't know we can do it, but we can figure it out. And sometimes the answer is
This
no.
should be good. This should be good. Yeah. That's great. We'll talk some more. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank
Did
you.
that help?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for coming. Tip your
Thank you.
waitresses.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank
Problem,
you.
Henny.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye-bye.
You're quite welcome. Have a great day.
Yeah,
too.
you too now. Bye now. Get out.